You guys had so many questions during my Camino de Santiago series, and fortunate for you, I really like talking. So we're gonna do a Camino de Santiago Q&A. Okay, so our first question is, did you have any injuries on the Camino de Santiago? No. Yes, there was one morning before I had just left my albergue, and I thought, oh, I should probably turn on my headlamp. And I reached up to turn it on as I fell down. It is 6:30, and I just took my first fall of the Camino. Probably first of many. Scraped my leg up real good. It got like oozy for a couple days. It was pretty gnarly, yeah. And also, you know, my feet hurt because my foot was broken. Not on the Camino. It was broken before the Camino, and I just am oblivious, I guess. What month did you do the Camino? It was in the fall. I went in September. I want to say I started like the 20-something-th of September. And I finished October 31st. And that was with several rest days in there. I think I took like 5 rest days overall. Did you ever consider having your bag transported? It really helps your feet. It does help your feet. That was, again, not why my feet were hurting, though. It was a fractured sesamoid bone. I did have my bag transported a few times, but it was actually because of the rain. I had a poncho, but the poncho would blow open on the side. Eventually I took medical tape and taped it so it stayed closed. I didn't want my bag and everything in my bag getting wet and then having to deal with the bag and the poncho in the rain.
This poncho will not stay buttoned, and every time a swift wind comes, it unbuttons, my bag gets exposed, I get cold, I get wet.
I think I transported it like 5 times total, and honestly when I didn't have my bag I felt naked. I didn't like it. I missed it. I missed my bag. How did you get your gear dry overnight? He's referring to when everything was wet because it rained nonstop forever. Nothing ever dried again. After that point, nothing ever dried. I could have paid for laundry and had it put in a washer, had it put in a dryer, but it would have just needed it again. And so I opted to just be uncomfortable and wear damp clothing for days. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Is it possible for you to let us know where you got the wax stamp? Yes. It was a Mexican restaurant called Catrina in O Pino, that area. 3 questions. You spent many days hiking in sandals with socks. Which brand/model sandals, and how did you keep stones and debris out of them? Yes, I did. I spent a lot of time on my socks and sandals. My socks were from Amazon. They are linked in my gear review video. And my sandals were from Kuru. They're orthotic sandals. There are a lot of people wearing Chacos or Tevas, and just basically, I don't know that any sandal is better than the next sandal for, as long as you're comfortable in it. And I really didn't get debris in my sandals. I don't know why, but they stayed pretty clean. I actually got more in my shoes than I did in my sandals.
I'm not kidding you, within 5 steps I had a rock in my shoe.
Your sleeping bag liner, which brand and model, and how did you deal with getting in and out quietly if you had to use the bathroom during the night? Again, it's linked in that gear video. It was just a polyester one. Getting in and out was a bit of a struggle. Getting in wasn't so bad. Getting out, though, was a beast. And especially on the cold nights, I was sleeping in my yoga pants, and the fabric of my yoga pants would cling to the polyester, and I would literally just get like wrapped up like a burrito trying to get out. Doing it quietly, I don't know how you would do it loudly, honestly, unless you just like knocked the whole bunk bed down trying to get up, which could happen, honestly. 3rd question. Did you find a good way to cut the noise of snores during the night? If so, please share your strategy and any gear involved. Snorers are not a problem to me. I don't mind them. I kind of grew up with snoring in my house, so it's like soothing. But if snoring does bother you, take earplugs or book a private room. Whatever you do, don't wake someone who is snoring, because I've mentioned this before, but if they're snoring, they're already getting horrible sleep. Like it's literally them gasping for air, basically. And if you wake them, then they're going to have a worse night's sleep and snore even worse. So just, you do something so that you are comfortable. Do you still hate hills? Oh man, hills were hard the first few days. Hills were so hard. But the funny thing is, I never learned how to breathe when I worked out. And so I actually learned how to breathe right while I was walking the Camino, you know, breathing into your stomach instead of into your chest. And that actually made a huge difference. And I started to love the hills. And then I did this other thing where I did controlled breathing while I went up the hills to help keep my heart rate low. And I also would use my poles. And so I started thinking of my poles as the front legs of a giraffe, and I would extend them and like fully go through the movement, and I would imagine myself as a Janelle Raff going up the hills, and it actually made them pass very quickly. And now I kind of love hills. I kind of love hills.
Just made it up this whole hill without stopping. It was so steep. And my heart rate stayed in like the 136 range. I'm so proud of that. And also, I'm so tired.
When it comes to money, did you use a credit card to pay for the albergues, or did you have to pay cash? Some albergues want cash, some you can pay with credit card. If you're using the Pilgrim apps, they often link to booking.com, and you can pay through booking.com. Sometimes they want you to message your card information over on WhatsApp, which is encrypted, so supposedly it's safe. But what I did is I actually got a privacy.com account, and then each time that I needed to book an albergue over WhatsApp or over text, I would make a privacy.com card, which means it's good for one merchant or X amount of money or whatever. And I would send them that card information instead of my actual card info. That way, if something scammy did happen, I was only at like the $20. And I can link that below. I think I have a referral code, so we'll see. No promises, we'll see. Did your US debit card work in bank machines? It worked in some bank machines. I think the ones I was having no success with are banks that are specifically limited to their bank users. Like maybe they were credit unions or something similar, and I just didn't realize that. But yes, I was able to get money out of ATMs. Worst case, it's the Camino, and the Camino provides, and if you ask around, there will be a Pilgrim somewhere that has extra cash that will let you Venmo the difference, you know, not the difference, but the equivalent over to them, which is how we got by at one point. Do you have a list of the albergues you stayed in? Yes, in the final video of my Camino, episode 18, when I reach Santiago, that list is in the description. It is only the places that I recommended. There were some places I didn't enjoy, so I didn't list them. And of course, my list is not exclusive, right? Like there are so many amazing places to stay on the Camino. Those are just the ones that I would stay at again. What did you think of safety both on the trail and in towns and cities as a solo woman? I felt safe. I felt safe 99% of the time. The only time I did not feel safe was when, yes. So there was one morning when I was walking alone and it was very dark. It was so dark. But what I did was when I started to feel kind of uncomfortable, I just waited till I saw headlights of another Pilgrim. And then I waited till they got a little closer, started walking again. That way you just have that camaraderie, even if you're not actually walking together and talking, knowing that someone has your back. Someone's got you in their vision.
I am just waiting to hear the Pilgrims behind me get a little closer. It's not really dark anymore. It's like dusk. I would just feel better knowing that someone's a little closer. I don't know how much you can see of this. It's really pretty. Oh, there's a Pilgrim. Do you see their headlamp? Great. Onward I go.
I also did not feel safe leaving Logroño. There were a group of teenagers loudly hanging out outside of the cathedral, and I don't know, you know, some teenagers, you just get that vibe that they're up to no good. I got that vibe. So I waited until another pilgrim came by, and then I kind of trailed him. I'll put the clip here.
And walked a few blocks, and I was just like, yeah, I don't feel safe. So I waited for a male pilgrim to come along, and then I just tailed him. Okay, I lost the one pilgrim I was tailing. So I stood at a bus stop with a bunch of other people, made it look like I was waiting for the bus, and waited for another group of pilgrims to come up behind me. So they're just like on the next block there, coming up, and I'm not with them, but I'm not with them. So that's better.
And then, yeah, I eventually made my way out of town, and I just kind of kept pilgrim hopping, waiting for more pilgrims to come by that I could follow or stay close to. And then the third time was when I was called a cockroach and spat at, but I didn't really feel unsafe then. I just felt victimized. Yeah. What would you change or do differently if you were to do it again? I would take different shoes, because my shoes were slippery, and then I had to buy trail shoes, and then they were too small. So I would take trail runners with me to start with. I would still take sandals, 100%. I loved walking in them, but on occasion I did need that extra traction. I would not take anything synthetic, except my pants. They were fine, but like all my tops, I wish I'd taken wool tops. Merino wool is antimicrobial. It dries quick. It doesn't get smelly. You can wear it for days, and no one's gonna know that you've worn it for days. Yeah, I would take wool for my top. I would probably take some sort of a warmer jacket, maybe like a light fleece, or the really lightweight, compact jackets. I'd probably take one of those. You are falling. I would also. What else would I do different? I wouldn't take my watercolors. I did not use them. There's just little things like that. I would have probably, yes, sleeping bag liner or a sleeping bag. I would have changed that. And I probably would have taken just some warmer options for myself, because there were some very, very cold days when I was walking. What apps or websites or guidebooks did you use? I used the apps specifically. Like, I did not use websites or the guidebooks. Just go in your app store, type Camino de Santiago. There's Wayne Pilgrim, there's Wise Pilgrim. I don't remember what the other one is. They're all great. Everybody kind of just picks and chooses. My dogs are crazy. Everybody just kind of picks and chooses different apps that they're going to use, and I honestly flipped back and forth between them a few times. They're all very, very good. Trick, there's one app, I can't remember which one it is, but there's a route planner on it, and if you want to use the route planner, it says to make a purchase. You can hit OK, and it will tell you that if you can't make the purchase at that point, then you can always come back later and do a donation. So you can hit OK and then just like go back later and make a donation to the app developer, so you can still use the app while you're on the Camino, even if you have not paid for it yet, which was very generous of the app creator. Just don't forget to go make your donation. What time is siesta? Siesta is around from like 2 to 5 p.m. So if you are getting to your albergue between 2 to 5 p.m. and you're hoping for a late lunch, that's probably not going to happen. So like eat lunch early, or take a snack, or carry snacks, or carry food, or go to a grocery store. Okay, next question. Did you have to pack out food? I saw that you ate when you finished hiking for the day or in towns, but did you bring snacks to ride you over until you got to a spot that had food? I almost always had food on me because anxiety. I know that my anxiety gets horrible, and I feel like the world's going to end if I'm hungry and there's nothing to eat. So I always kept something on me, whether it was like a pack of cookies or a container of Pringles or something like that. You do not have to pack food out. There are a few times when you might want to, like if you're doing a longer day, or like day one, if you're going all the way to Roncesvalles from Saint Jean, you probably should, because there's like one spot to eat, and it's kind of, oh, mosquitoes. It's like 4 miles in. I was advised to carry something with me, so I did. Did you get a SIM card or just use Wi-Fi? No. So I have Google Fi, and so I changed my phone plan to the international phone plan. I think it's like $20 extra a month, and that's what I used. Before that, I would use T-Mobile. Did you ever encounter much of a language barrier? Only when I kept accidentally ordering eyeballs instead of eggs for breakfast. How long were you actually away from home for? I just don't think I could take that much time off work to be able to do this. Understandable, and you're not alone in that. A lot of people either go and just walk from like Sarria to the end, or they start where they want to and they walk for like a week, go home. And the next year they go back, walk for a week, go home until they have finished. I met a lady who was doing that. I think she's actually completed the Camino a time or two before, just doing it like this. So she'll go walk for a week or so and go back home. You do not have to complete the Camino in one go to get your certificate if that's what you're seeking in the end. You just have to have done it. How much does it cost for nightly accommodations and food for the journey? You can stay places for as cheap as like 8 to 10 euro. You can spend as much as you want on a room. So if you don't want to spend 8 to 10 euro, then you can stay in a private room or get a hotel or whatever. But I would say I probably averaged about $20 a night for my place to stay. And for food, it's very cheap. Gosh, I mean, I would probably say I spent maybe 7 or 8 euros on lunch and coffee. Probably like 2 to 3 euros on breakfast and coffee, if it wasn't included in the albergue. And then dinner, I would roll in the dinner to my albergue when I could. So you're looking at about another 10 euros a night, but you get like a 3-course meal with dessert and wine for that typically. If you guys are interested in a cost breakdown video, comment below, and I'd be happy to throw that together and see. I have an idea of how much I spent, but it'd be kind of interesting, I think, to take a deeper dive into that and be like, okay, well, I spent this on food and this on accommodations and travel, whatever. That is all the questions you guys sent in. There are so many of them. Thank you so much for watching my Camino series and for your interest in the Camino. And I hope if you are planning to do it, that you feel free to reach out or comment if you have other questions, or if you have ideas for videos that you think would be beneficial to you. If you remember in the last video, I said that I have started a group for anxious walkers. Feel free to go join that too. I'll put the link in the description again, and QR code. QR code. See you next time. Bye, Camino.